Hello and welcome to the Bridging Borders Project. My name is Henna Hundal and I'm joined by my co-host, Rajagopal. And today we have an interview with the Prime Minister of the Faroe Islands, a self-governing archipelago and constituent country within the Kingdom of Denmark.
The Faroe Islands are located in between Iceland and the United Kingdom. They are known for their stunning greenery and their live fish industry. Please welcome the Prime Minister of the Faroe Islands, Prime Minister Nielsen.
So thank you so much again, Prime Minister, for taking the time to do this. I wanted to begin with a question about COVID-19. It seems that the COVID-19 numbers in the Faroe Islands have been trending up recently. Can you describe how you're planning to control the outbreak, especially given the upcoming summer tourism season?
Yeah, here in the Faroe Islands, we have had the same strategy from beginning of the pandemic with mass test, tracing and quarantine. And we can see that we have during this pandemic had some ups and downs, and we have managed during this strategy to keep it down, actually down to zero several times. So we are keeping on with that same strategy that we had with this test and tracing and quarantine as well. What we have now in the society is that we have some unidentified infections, you could say, walking around, and we are very careful about that, and we have not as much control as we would like, and therefore we have for a week actually only recommended more restrictions for the people. That means that we ask them not to go in big groups of people, and be careful which people they are going around with and so on. And we can see already that we have the numbers a little bit lower now, and we believe that we again can be able to keep it down, to zero again, hopefully. And that is also because we have this enormous test capacity, and of course also the great willingness among our people to take this testers. And when it comes to the summer tourism, we can see that studies shows that it's not actually seen in the numbers. Last summer, if you take that, we had a lot of tourism here, and last summer in late June, actually we opened up again and for tourism, and we could not see any numbers coming from there last summer in July and August, especially. There was a lot of people here. So we are not so very afraid about that, but of course we need to take care of that, and we have still the same strategy again with the test with the border when you come into the Faroe Islands, and then again a test again on the day 4 after that, and then you can travel around in the society as a tourist here in the Faroes. And also we had some small courses for these people that is working in this business, so they can be careful by themselves and for the tourists to take care of as good as possible of the tourists that's coming here to have a good expectation of the Faroe Islands and good memories from the visit here in the Faroes. So we hope still that we can keep on with to have this guests here during the summer, and we will of course still be people to take care of themselves, but in the same time we have more and more vaccinated people. That means that we have only weeks away from achieving herd immunity through our vaccination program, so everything at the moment looks okay for the summer as well.
To follow up on that, Prime Minister, a question we have is, what is the structure of your COVID-19 health system in the Faroe Islands, and how have you been progressing along that vaccination rate? You recently mentioned that you're close to herd immunity now.
Yeah, actually, when it comes to the health system, we can say in general, we have a completely public health care system with 3 hospitals, 1 large in the capital and 1 in the north and 1 in the south. And then we have a system with the local GPs that we call municipal doctors. They are spread around in the country, in the towns and villages, who may refer a patient to specialized care in the hospitals. And sometimes when we not have the specialist here in the Faroes, we also send them abroad, mostly to Denmark. And in terms of the COVID-19 management, we have benefited a lot from public-private partnerships with a private laboratory and the public health care system and the veterinary authorities that was mentioned to already from the start to have this mass test ready. And that, I think, is one of the most important things for our success in the COVID-19 periods, more than a year now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so, Mr. Prime Minister, you've been talking about the COVID-19 vaccines, and I'm curious if you can elaborate on how you're able to obtain the vaccines, given that the Faroe Islands are in a different trading zone from Denmark and the EU.
Yeah, that is because we have our part of the part that the Kingdom of Denmark get from the EU part. So we are on the same rate according to the population, the rate of Denmark, and we have been able, with our good people in the health care system, to get a lot out of every glass of the vaccine. So we are quite in good shape when it comes to vaccinate the people. I think it's above 40% of the total population of the people who get the first stick, and we are above 25% of the people of the total population. That means from also them under 16 years old that has been finally vaccinated. So we believe on our herd, you could say, immunity during the summer. I hope that we have already, in few weeks from now, we have already get all them that should be 16 above vaccinated with the first stick. So that means that we already then have a quite good immunity against this COVID-19 virus.
Prime Minister, you previously mentioned that you had some public-private partnerships on the island. How were you able to leverage these to scale up your mass testing capacity? The Faroe Islands has one of the highest COVID-19 testing capacities in the world. You've tested over 5 times the amount of your population. How were you able to get this done?
Yeah, as I said in the beginning, we had the strategy to make this mass test, and it was only possible because our veterinary authority was quite quick to adapt their system to test people in COVID instead of salmon diseases. So we could say that we were so happy that we had some salmon diseases in the far time away. It was in the early zeros. And therefore we have a lot of salmon farming here. That is, I think, the best salmon in the world, of course. And we are selling around the whole world. We have, according to the population, especially, our salmon industry is quite big, and therefore we had a lot of capacity to make these tests. So it was, you could say, our salmon farming was our best, you could say, our best weapon against the COVID-19 in the start. Since then, we have this, private-public partnership that has been quite effective to, both to make the tests and to get the laboratory, get them through the laboratory, and also somehow we get also some private companies into this to set it up and to have facilities and so on to make this test. So I would say we have, and again, the willingness of the people to get tested, turned up in droves for tests and so on, and the willingness from the privates and the public and everybody is, I would say, is the final result that we have get so good through this very difficult period with the COVID-19 so far. And I hope we can see the light of the tunnel now. We are so close to the we could say total vaccinated population. So and the willingness of the people and everybody is not that we can take for granted. So we are quite happy and thankful for the willingness from everybody in this case, and that is one of the most important thing for the success we have had during this COVID-19 period.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's amazing. Mr. Prime Minister, you mentioned the vibrant salmon farming industry on the islands. And so I want to end on one final note about the economy. In the Faroe Islands, the economy has done well in terms of low unemployment during the pandemic, but it is significantly based around fishing. And I wonder if, looking toward the future, you have any plans for diversification.
Yeah, I would say it that way, that there's been a political project for decades now to get a more diversified economy in the Faroe Islands. And as you mentioned, you said the fish industry is quite heavy in the economy and so on. Yes, it is, and it was, but we can see now that our economy is more diverse now than it was only 10 years ago. Especially the salmon farming has supplemented the traditional fish industry quite well, and now the salmon industry is in export value much bigger than the fish industry. So we can see good trends there, and they are still going quite well in the salmon farming, and we hope that we also can have a growth there in the future. And on top of that, we also have the tourism that has had a continuous growth in many years now, and will probably continue after the pandemic, I hope, because we have built new hotels here in the Faroe Islands, 2 brand new hotels in the capital, and some expansions of other hotels as well. And we have a better and quite good infrastructure now for the tourism. So I would say that that is one of the good things, that we have more diversified economy now. And one of our, I would say, core business during many years, we are a maritime nation as well, is the shipping and maritime services that have been for many years one of our core businesses. And here we can see a lot of potential for growth in the nearest future with the upcoming maritime activity in the North Atlantic, and especially in the Arctic area. So we can see a lot of opportunities for us in the future. And I would say that only during this last 10-15 years, we have been able to diversify our economy in a lot of ways, both in service sector as the tourism and so on, and also in the shipping and maritime services, and especially in the salmon farming, which is now the half of our export value. So you could say, okay, we was very dependent on the fish industry, but now we are dependent, in the salmon industry, in the fish industry, and probably the most rapidly growing before the pandemic was actually the tourism industry. And I believe the next we will see is quite big growth in the maritime activity here around in the North Atlantic, according up to Arctic.
Wonderful.
Prime Minister, thank you so much for coming onto our show today.